Si yo me merezco una oportunidad más, another title fight. I deserve to get my 5th title.
The hands of stone became the belly of jelly as the years went by, but Duran is recommitted to the values of being in top condition.
One thing you'll never see anymore is you're gonna catch me out of shape. You know, I've been training hard for this fight, and never again will I ever, go inside of a ring without being in the kind of shape I am for this fight.
Tonight, Duran faces tough Canadian Jacques Leblanc, and while Leblanc is aware of the legend of Duran, he's confident that Duran's best days are behind him.
What he's done is great, but this 15 years ago, 13 years ago, we're ahead now. We're 13 years ahead. So I think the years I put, I think this is my time. My time has come, and I never got knocked out. I never got beat in the ring. So if Roberto Duran's going to do it, well, he'll be the first one, and he'll be somebody. So I have no shame about it anyway. But that's not how I look at it. I just want to go there and do my job.
LeBlanc's job tonight is to win the biggest fight of his career, and his plan is clear.
I like to use every round. I don't have a knockout punch, but I make my opponents tougher round by round. I want to make sure they remember me for the rest of their life. That's how I've been fighting all my life. This man's talking a lot about me. He's making a lot of comments about me. And when you make comments against Roberto Duran, you pay. You get destroyed.
Well, there you got it from the lips of the great man himself. You make comments about the great man and you get destroyed. Well, I must admit, I thought Jacques Leblanc spoke a pretty good fight. And I will actually concentrate on Leblanc. You don't say the C, incidentally, in case you're wondering. It's Jacques Leblanc, not Jacques Leblanc.
Super middleweight.
10 rounds and in the super middleweight division. And the biggest fight of Leblanc's career.
Louisiana, Elmo Adolph from Biloxi, Mississippi.
He can't be bad though, Leblanc, because last time out he actually beat Paul Wesley from Birmingham on points over 10 rounds. That was in June.
From Biloxi, Mississippi, Chester Como. Introducing now the principals first in the red corner to my right, wearing white trunks, red trim, red accessories. He weighs 162 pounds. His professional record, 22 wins, 4 defeats, 2 draws. He has 5 knockouts from Moncton, New Brunswick, Canada, the chin of steel, Jacques Leblanc.
And there's Jacques Leblanc then from Moncton, New Brunswick. That's in the far eastern side of Canada. Not a French Canadian. Well, he is a French Canadian, but doesn't live in Montreal, as you suspect.
Gold accessories. He weighs 165 pounds. His professional record, 88 wins, 9 defeats. He has 61 knockouts. He is 4 times world champion, el hijo de la República de Panamá, manos de piedra, Roberto Duran.
So there's the man then that 4,000 people have turned out to see. And I'll tell you the first thing, Duran looks to be in better shape than Leblanc. Leblanc carrying at least 6 or 7 pounds of excess flesh on that body.
Okay, man. Instructions were
and the
given
fact that he's white as well makes it show even more. So Mr. Jiggly against Mr. Jelly Belly, or as he used to be known, Roberto Duran used to be hands of stone, of course, and a real menace. And go back to 1967 for the beginning of Roberto Duran's professional career. So been an active pro now for 3 decades, 27 years. Would you believe it? And what a great fighter he was. But as I say, I'm going to concentrate on Leblanc to start with. And he was one of those, in fact, Leblanc, who actually made his name in the Canadian version of tough man contests. We used to call it tavern fighting in Canada, barroom brawling in England. And didn't do at all bad. He had about 30 fights by all accounts. So, the Canadian with the maple leaf on those white trunks in the biggest night of his career. Had about 25 amateur bouts, won a bronze medal in the Canadian national tournament years ago, but he didn't think that amateur boxing suited his style, so that's when he took up the old barroom brawling and then turned professional. Pro now since June of 1982. He won his first fight, then lost an 8-round decision to the very capable Don Johnson, but knocked Johnson out 2 fights later in the rematch in 4 rounds. The one thing Leblanc is famous for is his stamina, and the fact he's never been stopped. Had 3 10-round fights, in fact, in his first 8 outings as a pro. And Leblanc can claim to be the former Canadian champion. Canadian middleweight champion, in fact, back in '89. He beat Darryl Flint on points over 12, then lost it to the same man on points over 12 rounds in his very next fight. So champion for 4 months was Leblanc. Hasn't boxed for it since. And one other good result, I think, for Leblanc was he got a split decision over Ricky Thomas last April, over 10 rounds. And Ricky Thomas, you might remember, has just given super middleweight champion James Toney a reasonable scrap before he got stopped. I think in the 10th, wasn't it? And Leblanc now living in Boston, rated number 14 by the NABF. As a light middleweight, in fact. Well, looks like Duran has come out to very gently force himself on this first round. He certainly looks to be winning it, but he's still a hell of a draw, you know, Duran. So let's give him the first round. And what can you say? Well, I suppose what you can say about Duran would take all night, but as I say, a pro since 1967. First won his world championship. He beat Ken Buchanan, you might remember. And that was way back in June of 1972. 13th round, when there were still 15-round bouts. And of course, it's no secret that he hit Ken in the family jewels. Should have been chucked out. He was like a maniac that night. Every infringement in the book. And ironically, I mean, I know Ken, and he offered, in fact, he begged for a rematch with Duran. Said he'd fight him for nothing, but Duran didn't want to know. His first loss, in fact, came against Esteban de Jesus. You might remember that as well. In November of '72, a non-title fight, lost on points over 10 rounds. But he beat de Jesus a couple of times after that, so we raised that memory. In all, he won 12 defences of his lightweight title, as Leblanc there, trying to get a bit ambitious. He doesn't want to do too much of that against Duran. Well, he's standing there in this second round and having a go. The left hook, though, put him off. And you might remember also that Duran won the welterweight championship. Didn't even bother with the light welters in those days. He beat Sugar Ray Leonard in that tremendous fight back in 1980. And then lost it in his first defense to the same man in the famous no-mass quit. Leonard frustrated the life out of Duran that night, and Duran said, forget it. If you don't want to stand and fight, I'm not going to bother. And just chucked it in. And that led to one of his many, many retirements. So, yeah, one of his many retirements. Then he won the light middleweight championship, which he never defended, strangely enough. He first fought Wilfredo Benitez for it. Lost on points over 15 rounds in '82. Then got a second crack. He beat Davey Moore, you might remember, in 8 rounds. And actually gave Moore a bit of a boxing lesson. But then gave it up. Had 2 cracks at the middleweight championship against Marvin Hagler and Thomas Hearns. Lost on points to Hagler over 15 rounds, and that devastating right hand detonated by Hearns in the second round to poleaxe Duran in his second attempt at the middleweight championship. Then ironically, he actually beat Iran Barkley and had him on the floor for the middleweight championship in February of '89. His career really took off again. But who should take it off him? None other than Sugar Ray Leonard. First defense once again. And it's ironic how a measure of greatness can be a man who defends his championship several times before losing to a good fighter. And there's no doubt at all, in my mind anyway, that Roberto Duran is probably the best lightweight champion we've ever seen. But he certainly can't qualify as being the best welterweight, light middleweight or middleweight champion. To say he lost his welterweight championship in the first defense, never defended the light middleweight title, and lost the middleweight championship in his first defense. So hardly a measure of greatness, really. But a hell of a fighter. Lost to some pretty ordinary fellas as well. Robbie Sims outpointed him in June of '86, and Sims, of course, Marvin Hagler's half-brother. And one of the most recent losses, in fact his last loss, was against Pat Lawler. Then a couple of years out after Leonard beat him. And Pat Lawler beat him in a 6-round retirement. Duran complained of a shoulder injury. And believe me, Pat Lawler is nothing to write home about. Last couple of fights, he beat Tony Biglan on points over 10. And then knocked out Ken Halsey in the first round last December. And of course, Duran's only ambition is another crack at a world championship. It will be a super middleweight version, I would imagine. And the super middleweight champions at the moment, James Toney, of course, is the ruler of the roost for the IBF. Michael Nunn is WBA champion. Chris Eubank is WBO. And of course, Nigel Benn is WBC. And there was talk a couple of years ago of Ben facing Duran. And a couple of years ago, it might have been a pretty reasonable match. But that could still happen. Although, those independent world boxing rankings I've been referring to have got Duran at number 19. And that's one place above James Cook at number 20, former European champion, and Fidel Castro Smith, former British champion, at 21. Of course, there's so many fans of Roberto Duran, I better be careful about what I say here. I was already taken to task by slagging off the laborious comeback of Larry Holmes from a particular Larry Holmes fan, and I used to be one, of course. Inside the final minute of the third. And although Leblanc is not afraid to take the fight to Duran, he's not getting too far. Got some damage on the left eye now. You can see those punches of Duran's are carrying a fair bit of weight to mark up Leblanc so early in a fight. That's another round for Roberto. And I'm going to give you a bit of scandal about Roberto Duran when we come back after this break. Into round 4 of a scheduled 10-rounder in the super middleweight division. Roberto Duran, of course, in the black and gold. Looks pretty resplendent, doesn't he? 42 years of age now. Leblanc, 28. And I'll say a bit of scandal about Roberto Duran, or his career anyway. On the 12th of December 1989, he apparently earned $8 million in that rubber match with Sugar Ray Leonard. It should have been his swan song, and he ended up, they reckon, with only about 10% of his purse after all the various sharks had their dip. That means that $7.2 million went walkie. And Duran's always having problems with the Panamanian authorities and tax evasion or not paying it for one reason or another, and they've always caught up with him. And one of the reasons, of course, he's coming back is because he's skint. Trained by Ray Arcel, great trainer Ray Arcel. He's seen all the great ones since the 20s. Once called him the most vicious son of a bitch I ever saw in a ring. And that's exactly what Duran was. And in fact, the same man, Ray Arcel, cried after Duran quit so famously or infamously against Leonard in the second match. Ironically, once in Panama, when Duran was boxing, he knocked out his opponent, and then he flattened the guy's girlfriend when she got in the ring to have a go at him. She got a bit hysterical, jumped in and jumped on him, and he chinned her as well. Never been a man to pull a punch. And the temperature in this casino magic is high. Both men could do with losing a bit of weight, but it looks like Leblanc has got more problems than Duran in that department. He's coming at 162 pounds, could probably come in at 150 and not look bad. And Duran at 165. These days, Duran managed by Freddie Martinez. And Duran's only 5 feet 7 inches tall, you know. For a man of that stature to win a super middleweight title is something. Not bad, bat average for lightweight, as I mentioned previously. And he was a tremendous lightweight. Vicious. I'll ask you a couple of questions about Duran as we go on. In 1978, he made his last defence of his World Lightweight Championship. Can you remember who against? As the bell ends, round 4. Well, you're racking your brains, aren't you? Well, the man he beat for the second time in their 3 meetings, of course, was Esteban de Jesus. And he's also fought 2 British fighters. I wonder if you can remember who they were. Fought them both in 1982. He lost to one and boxed appallingly and beat the other. As we are in round 5, I'll give you the answer at the end of this round. There's Duran's record, 88 wins, 9 losses, 61 stoppages or knockouts. Leblanc, of course, 22 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws, and only 5 stoppage wins, so he's not a great puncher. But that goes hand in hand with being durable, which Leblanc has proved to be. And I wouldn't imagine that Duran would have enough left at this stage to beat a man like Chris Eubank. He'd probably just be a little bit too smart for him. Certainly wouldn't beat Michael Nunn or James Toney. And I dare say that Nigel Benn would give me a bit of a drubbing as well. So where's he going to go? Possibly a WBF or IBC or IBO championship. Never forget when Tommy Hearns and Ray Leonard won their 5th World Championships, they were recognised and hailed. Didn't fool me, of course. Didn't fool a lot of people, but Leonard really was very cynical about his whole boxing career. I thought he treated the fans very cynically as well, although I've heard people say good things about him. Nice punches from Duran. Of course, in the old days, Duran would have landed 10 there in a space of time. It took him to land 2. And he always had this menacing look on his face. I remember him way back in the early part of his career. I don't know if you remember an opponent of Duran's way back in May of 1976 who went on to become world champion. He's still boxing today. He was a points loser to Duran. It wasn't for his world lightweight title. I don't know if you can remember that. I dare say all of you rock-solid Duran fans will remember the name of Sol Manby. Might as well keep this little competition going. In '79, Duran had one of his best wins of his career, I think, anyway, against a man who was a very good welterweight champion. And Duran won rather easily on points over 10 rounds. Under the name of Carlos Palomino, of course. And those 2 Brits that Duran boxed in '82, he lost on points to Kirkland Lang, which was a hell of an upset at the time. And in his very next fight, Lang, of course, former British welterweight champion. In his very next fight, he fought the former British light middleweight champion, Jimmy Batten, and boxed appallingly, but still beat Batten. Who these days apparently is a nightclub comedian. Back to his best after the Batten fight, and he stopped former welterweight champion Pepino Cuevas in 4 rounds. Well, that's enough questions about the career of Roberto Duran. Refreshed your memories or enlightened you. Of course, I've told none of the old die-hard Duran fans anything new. This then round 6 of this 10-round super middleweight contest. The Canadian Jacques Leblanc in the white against the former terrorist Roberto Duran. I don't mean that, of course, in political terms, but he was one hell of a man to fight. He was too small, really, when he fought Marvin Hagler, was Duran, and couldn't cope with the southpaw either. So it was a fairly straightforward victory for Hagler that night. As I say, I could speak all night about Duran. Began his professional career, in fact, at the age of 15, and he was a bantamweight. In fact, a couple of his early victims were super featherweight champion Hiroshi Kobayashi, Japanese. He was a former super featherweight champion. Also beat a featherweight champion to beat Ernesto Marcel. And picked up his nickname Rocky along the way. A couple of shots there, right hand, left hook from Duran. And if you also remember that loss to Esteban de Jesus the first time they met, Duran was on the deck in that fight, I think in the first round, in fact. And that fight that Duran had with Leonard, the first one, received more hoopla and build-up than any non-heavyweight title fight before it, and well worth it, of course. And in that fight with Leonard, the first one, Duran started like a train. Leonard tried to close the gap, but just couldn't. I'll give you one more question for die-hard Duran fans, and naming the referee in the famous no mas quit against Leonard the second time they met. Do you remember who that was? I'll give you the answer at the end of this round. And Leblanc naturally having his moments, but not enough of them. Possibly a level round there. Remember the name of the referee who accepted Duran's surrender? Had a bit of a name for himself at the time. Octavio Mayran. That was a great performance by Duran to beat Davey Moore. Davey Moore was a very well respected light middleweight champion. This is round 7. So far competed in 21 World Championship contests. He's won 16 of them. And his next engagement, providing he wins this one, looks like he's going to, with Leblanc getting more bashed up by the round, will be against Vinny Pazienza. Been offered $500,000 to fight Pazienza, and that won't go amiss. Pazienza beat him. Even though Pazienza's only a light middleweight. So Duran's going to have to do some work to get that surplus off. At about 10 pounds to lose, in fact. Unless, of course, Pazienza doesn't mind fighting Duran at this weight. Oh, good right there from Leblanc. That's the best punch he's landed. Beautiful shot. An arcing overarm right, full in the face of Duran. And Duran doesn't allow anybody to take liberties. But ironically, Duran still does not speak good English. His command of the English language is very limited. Always has to speak through an interpreter. Actually, he probably speaks it perfectly, but no one realises it. And it's very odd in a man who's been engaging in international sport in his entire career. So one big right-hand shot from Leblanc in this round. And Duran has made him pay for it ever since it landed. Duran's round. Coming up, and Duran looking a bit puffy about that right eye. Heavily greased, but Jacques Leblanc, well, bleeding from the nose. He's got that swelling getting even bigger on the left eye. You know, one ironic thing about Duran's career, he's had 97 fights, and with the exception of the American mainland, he's never boxed outside the Americas. Apart from Canada, Brazil, Mexico, Puerto Rico, and of course his home country of Panama. Never boxed in Europe. And the furthest he's ever boxed away from home was, of course, in Canada. And that was a long time ago, in fact. Can you tell me where it was, or who it was against? That's an interesting question for you. Who did Duran box in Canada? The only time he ever has done. could think of it. Well, the only fight he's ever had in Canada was the first match, of course, with Ray Leonard. I don't actually like calling him Sugar Ray Leonard, because for me there was only one Sugar Ray, and that was Robinson, of course. And the rematch was at the Superdome in New Orleans. Inside the final minute of the 8th round, and Jacques Leblanc, well, other than still being there, he's not done too much. The odd shot in the 7th round, of course, that probably the best punch he landed in the whole fight. The right in the centre of the face, as the blood still spills down Leblanc's white shorts. But the very name Roberto Duran, of course, conjures up so many great memories. People pay to see him. I don't know what he's earning for this match. Well, so far I've only given Leblanc a share of 1 round, and that was the 6th. I'm probably not being too kind on him. And there's some thudding body shots there from Duran. So penultimate round, in round 9, as they're just cleaning up that water spilled in Duran's corner. Roberto Hands of Stone Duran. Mr. Jelly Belly these days, although, as I say, not looking in bad shape. I think he's 30-odd pounds heavier than when his reign as lightweight champion started. In fact, he turned in his first professional fight, he weighed 118 pounds. Duran, he was a bantamweight, as I say. Well, Leblanc looking quite ambitious here in the 9th. Needs the odd round. Born in Panama City 42 years ago. June 1951. And Duran smiling there. He knows that Leblanc wants this round. Not for any other reason than the fact that it'll probably be the first one he's got. Chester Como there. This is a bit of a thrill for him, of course, to referee a former legend like Duran. We also had Larry Holmes in the Casino Magic, of course. Inside the final minute of the 9th. There's one more after this. Switch to southpaw there, then thought better of it, Leblanc. And that smile on Duran's face is more out of embarrassment than anything else. He's getting caught with really silly punches. They're not doing him any damage. But the old Duran would have just slipped that head one way or the other and crashed in a left hook or right over the top. Or underneath, as Ken Buchanan can testify. Well, Duran skiffed and scuffed in the last minute, but possibly Jacques Leblanc has got that one. And all of you fans, of course, of nostalgia have got a big treat on Saturday in our Knockout magazine program around lunchtime. We're going to be featuring Muhammad Ali and Marvin Hagler. And of course, tomorrow night on Eurosport, the final showdown at Madison Square Garden, featuring Kevin Kelly. This is the 10th and final round then. And LeBlanc, of course, will want to go out in the shield here. I think it's pretty easy to see why he's never been stopped before. He's falling pretty reasonable class, but he's not bad defensively. But like I've said about so many fighters, you get in the ring and they're in bad shape. I don't like to see it, and I suspect that LeBlanc could be at least 10 pounds lighter on a good day. And Duran seems to have grown into this portly shape of his these days. And as a lightweight, around about 132 pounds, Duran was a very skinny individual, but he could fight. Past halfway then, 10th and final round. And Jacques Leblanc can sense the ending is near. And he's thoroughly enjoyed this experience with Duran. Duran still thudding some shots home. Of course, they lack the zip and consequently the velocity and power of his previous incarnations, but they're still landing and they're still scoring and they still hurt. Well, this looks like a pretty clear win for Duran so far. And there's the bell. All we wait for now is confirmation. And that's a salute to his faithful fans. .99 points for him.
Ladies and gentlemen,
92 for Leblanc on my card.
Decision.
8 rounds to 1. And 1 even.
98-92.
Oh, that's not bad. 8 rounds to 2.
Scores it 99-91.
9 rounds to 1.
Elmo Adolf scores it 97-96. All to the winner, Roberto.
And that was a lot closer. 6 rounds to 3 and 1 even. But I'm glad we all saw it almost the same kind of way as Roberto Duran rolls on.